Hey everybody, it's ScomletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Dominaria Premier Draft, so without further ado, let's hop into the Pack 1, Pick 1. Super weak Pack 1, in my opinion. Our best common is just like Gitu Lava Runner, which is fine. Reproach is okay removal. Our uncommons are not very good. Nature Spiral and Sentinel of the Pearl Trident are cards I pretty much never play, and Baird is just fine. A 4-mana 2/4 Vigilance is a decently sized body in this format. It's really annoying to attack into that. There's a lot of 3/2s and stuff in the format, so a 2/4 is pretty impressive, plus the taxing is nice. I think I'm going to take Baird here. The Mending of Dominaria is fun, but pretty slow. The format is really slow, but when you think about it, this card pretty much just lets you draw 2 cards for 5 mana. It's like a really slow divination. You're going to get 2 creatures from your graveyard back to your hand, and then you're going to get all of your lands from your grave to the battlefield. So it does potentially ramp you, but by the time you already have 5 mana, you don't really need the ramp that much. So Mending of Dominaria is still a fun card, but I don't think it's ever a card I'm going to first pick. So we're just starting with a Baird here, I guess. Pick 2 now, we do have Evra, Halcyon Witness. This is a boatload of mana for a card with no evasion of any kind. That being said, it is a big lifelinker, and if your opponent doesn't have instant speed removal, you can just gain 1,000,000 life with the 4-mana ability to make Evra, a 20 power creature if you still have 20 life at that time, and then you gain 20 life every time you hit with Evra. So Evra's like a fun card. I don't think Evra's super good. Again, just expensive and no evasion. Low power and toughness for the cost, just 4/4 for 6. But again, not a super wild pack. If I was wanting to get as competitive as possible here, I could take Gideon's Reproach to have on-color removal, Aven Sentry for the cheaper, more evasive card, or there are good off-color cards like Academy Drake being a great flyer, Coldwater Snapper just being a giant hexproof game ender, and Fiery Intervention being decent removal. But I'm going to get a little cheeky here and just take the Evra. This is going to be probably the last Dominaria draft that I do, I think, because this will be going up the day before they rotate and the day that the drafts rotate out. There's also some Streets of New Capenna spoilers I might be doing a video on. So this is probably the last draft, so our last time to do something weird and wacky. Just take a bunch of legendary cards and maybe even try to do the Thran Temporal Gateway. This card's pretty much unplayable. Most of the legendaries in the format are not going to cost you very much more than 4 mana, so it doesn't really give you much of a cost reduction, but it does let you play your historic cards at instant speed, which is kind of cool. I think what I want to do here, though, in the interest of making a really interesting deck here, and potentially actually playing Thran Temple Gateway, is to take the Grun, because this is a 6-mana legendary card, and it's a pretty fun one. It's just a big, beefy green dork. So every card we've taken so far is a legendary creature, and then we should be able to wheel Thran Temporal Gateway, because nobody that's trying to draft super competitively is going to be that interested in that card. So it's very likely it just gets past everybody and comes back to us with only a few cards left in the pack. That being said, that's not a 100% guarantee. There could be somebody else who's trying to just do fun things like I'm wanting to do for the final Dominaria draft, but we'll find out. So here we have Blessed Light, which is excellent removal. I am going to take this. Davenant Trapper would certainly be an option because we have 3 historic spells already. Deathbloom Thalad's probably the best card in, well, one of the best cards in the pack. Just a 3-mana 3/2 that spits out a sapling when it dies. Academy Drake's pretty nice too. I don't like Soothsayer, it's a bit slow, but it's still fine to take later. Yeah, there's a Chronicler as well. This is a pretty good pack, but I think it's Blessed Light for me for sure. Now, what have we here? Guardians of Koilos is a historic spell, so that would go with the Thran Temporal Gateway theme if that card does wheel. That being said, it's not a very good one, and I guess Sanctum Spirit would be kind of fun if our whole hand is historic spells, but at the same time, do we really want to discard a 6-mana 4/4 lifelink to protect our 4-mana 3/2 lifelink? Like, probably not. Yeah, this pack's pretty weak overall. Deathbloom Thalad's definitely the best card in it by far. We only have 1 green card so far, so we can take Deathbloom Thalad and just speculate on black. Black-white do have, or Black-white does have a bit of a Legendary Matters theme that you can draft around, which is pretty nice. I'm pretty happy to take another Deathbloom Thalad here, just again an excellent black creature. But Fungal Plots would be pretty good if we end up in green. Just a really nice late game card to get a bunch of saplings, gain some life, draw some cards off of it. We used this in our last draft deck if you haven't seen the Dominaria draft number 7, I think it was. But I'm going to go with the Deathbloom Thalad here. Black-white Legends is definitely a theme, definitely a synergy we can go for, and there's great black cards still getting passed around. Caligo Skinwitch here, very good kicker effect, making your opponent discard the last of their hand. And at early game, you just spend it, just play a 2-mana 1/3. I like to call the Cavalry a good bit. In these black-white decks, they have a bit of a knight sub-theme as well, not just necessarily a legend sub-theme. And Memorial to Glory is fine. It's a land that can cycle later, but I think I like Call the Cavalry better. Looks like we're hopefully going to white-black Legends, which could be pretty cool. Be one of the only decks I've ever drafted that might actually care about the white-black uncommon legend. I pick one Baird. Pack 2 is the one with Thran Temporal Gateway. Okay, so this is our Pack 1. We can take a Soul Salvage here, I guess. We're going to have a lot of legends, so we could protect them with this. Or protect them, we can bring them back from the grave with this. We could take Adamant Will as well, that'd be fine. But let's get some recursion. The moment of truth is going to be right now. We'll see if there's a Thran Temporal Gateway passed. No. Wow, well, Gideon's Reproach it is. Or Memorial to Folly is actually a pretty good deal too. She might be on Memorial to Folly here. Hopefully I can get more Blessed Lights instead of Gideon's Reproaches. That makes me really sad. Alright, I guess we're just black-white. Someone else in this draft pod is trying to have more fun than us, and they're going to succeed because we don't have the Thran Temporal Gateway. That's a really sad time. Again, I think Thran Temporal Gateway, if you're trying to win games, it's pretty much unplayable. If you want to get cheeky and do some fun, stupid things, then have at it. Really I wish I were in a try-hard draft pod. Unironically. We got double Memorial to Folly. That is fantastic. We're definitely just like black-white good stuff now. We see Onsar's Wings here, which is, as we've played it before in a green-white draft deck in Dominaria draft number 6. And it won the game pretty much every time we cast it. It's an absolutely absurd card, and we're happy to take it here. We're even going to take it over Torgar. Listen, I know I said I was going to do fun things here, and I was going to go for like Black-White Legends, Thran Temporal Gateway shenanigans, but if somebody took our Thran Temporal Gateway, I'm just going to take Onsar's Wings. If we had a Thran Temporal Gateway in our sealed pool, or in our draft pool, then I would slam Torgar, but we don't have a Thran Temporal Gateway, so let's just take the other card, and it's for the legendary theme as well. It makes whatever you enchant a legendary card. What do we have now? We already have one Baird. Don't really think I want to grab another Baird here just immediately, because I don't like running duplicates of the same legend unless they're like very powerful. Baird's just fine. So I kind of like Mesa Unicorn here is pretty good, and Fungal Infection's pretty great. Fungal Infection Unicorn. I think I definitely want to get some 2-drops here. We have one 2-mana creature right now, and it's one that we would prefer to kick. So let's grab a Unicorn, I think. But Fungal Infection is pretty exceptional. Okay, now we get to take another Historic spell that cares about casting more Historic spells. This also cares about having a lot of creatures with mana value 3 or less to end up in our graveyard. So definitely want to pick up some more of those from now on. But I'm happy to take Tashar here over not much else. Chainer's Torment's unplayable in this format because of how good the blue bounce spells are at common. Blink of an Eye and Academy Journey Mage will just beat you up and take your lunch money if you try to cast this card. You're going to spend 4 mana to drain your opponent for 4 life and then spend half of your life to get nothing because your Nightmare Horror will just be gone every time. Yeah, there's like Adamant Will, Dark Bargain, and Caligo Skin, which would be decent choices for us, but Tashar is the most fun choice for sure. And Skittering Surveyor is pretty great for our deck. It is a Historic spell. It's a creature with mana value 3 or less. It's great mana fixing. Song of Freyalise pick 4 is pretty crazy. This card is absolutely nuts. If you see it, it looks pretty unassuming if you've never drafted the format before, because you look at it, you're like, it's a 2-mana card, your creatures can tap for a mana of any color. It's really easy to stop reading and be like, all right, whatever. But it gives your entire board a +1/+1 counter permanently and gives them Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible till end of turn, leading to a ridiculous attack when this pops off. If you've watched the previous Dominaria drafts, like Dominaria draft 5 or 6, especially draft 6, I think is when I had Song of Freyalise, you'll see that this card just pops off. It's just dumb. It's an incredible Magic card. So we have Call the Cavalry, Aven Sentry, and Windgrace Acolyte. We have 2 Memorial to Folly, so I'm actually kind of excited about Windgrace Acolyte for just self-mill over the Aven Sentry. It is 1 more mana, but you gain a few life off of it, you mill yourself a bit, so really good with Memorial to Folly, and really good with our Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle, and Soul Salvage. We have a lot of recursion going on, so the self-mill is going to be pretty nice. Another Deathbloom Thallid here for another mana value 3 or less creature, although we should probably take Blessed Light because it's just fantastic removal. And it'll be only our 2nd removal spell. We did pass up on Gideon's Reproach and stuff, so we could just take Blessed Lights instead, so yeah, we'll grab it. Well, now we do get a Memorial's Glory. Looks like we are wide open here. Sparring Construct wouldn't be bad in this deck either, though. We have multiple spells now that care about casting historic stuff, or having historic stuff, or even having artifacts with this Excavation Element, although I'll probably cut that. I guess we actually only have 1 card that cares about historic, that's Teshar. So yeah, maybe not so much that we need Sparring Construct over the Memorial. Alright, an Elephant that I won't play. You know, I'm not going to play this Elephant, and Sapling Migration is by far the best card in this pack, so I'll just take that. Ooh, Pegasus Courser is pretty nice. Let your non-flying creatures jump up into the sky alongside their Pegasus ally. Really want some 2-mana creatures here. I want some more Mace Unicorns, Knight of Grace, or something. People must be taking some aggressive black and white creatures here. If we get like a really good Saga, I guess we could play a Tragic Poet. I really don't want to play Stronghold Confessor, Drudge Sentinel. We already have so much going on at 4 mana that I don't want the Stronghold Confessor because it's basically a 4-drop. And Drudge Sentinels just always seemed like kind of an expensive regenerator. Yep, like no 2-drop creatures here. We could take another Tragic Poet. I guess it does work with On Sarah's Wings. Probably prefer Adamant Will, though. Because we've only got the 1 enchantment right now, so unless we open multiple Great Sagas. We'll see, maybe we'll open a History of Benalia, or... I forget what the Black Saga is called, the uncommon, but it's really good. 4 and a black to make your opponent sacrifice a creature, then discard a card, then you get the best. You get to reanimate any creature from a grave. Blessing of Bells and Luck might actually be a lifelink combat trick in our deck, which is cool. Wow, we can get a duplicate Teshar and be a really consistent deck here. Teshar's spicy, but we want a lot of good 3-mana value or less creatures here, so I think I would rather just take Skittering Surveyor or Knight of Malice to make our first Teshar better. I don't think we'll wheel this Teshar, though. I really don't think we will, and we have a lot of historic cards, so maybe we still take it. But it is going to be a big bummer not getting another Surveyor or a Knight of Malice, because we are still lacking on the cheap creature front. Yeah, there's no way we wheel this. We haven't wheeled any of the Davenant Trappers and stuff. But I'll take Knight of Malice. This card's just absurd in black-white. It's 2 mana for a 2/2 first strike with hexproof from white. As long as anyone controls a white permanent, it gets +1 power. So in our deck, it'll often be just a 2 mana 3/2 first strike, which is completely nuts. It's incredibly dumb. Take another Blessed Light here. Now we've got 3 phenomenal removal spells. Cards we'd like to wheel would be Voltaic Servant or Caligo Skinwitch. Servant for another cheap card that triggers Historic, and Caligo Skinwitch for another cheap creature / kicker card. We have a 21 card deck here, 21 cards and 3 lands. Wow, we get another historic spell and it costs 3 mana value or less. Super happy to take Danitha Capuchin here. Another legendary card. That's pretty beautiful for us. A 4th Blessed Light would be good too, but I think 3 should be enough to scrape by when we can grab an excellent 3 mana value or less creature. That being said, we are still missing a bit on 1 or 2 mana creatures, and a Macy Unicorn's a pretty beautiful one, but Danitha's just the nuts. Big old Urgoros, really hitting that legendary theme, I guess. Fungal Infection's pretty good, but it doesn't do exactly what I want out of my mana value 2 or less creatures, which is to be an actual creature instead of an instant. Yes, this does make a creature, but the reason I want the cheap creatures is, again, because of Teshar. Fungal Infection is a very good card, but it doesn't work perfectly with what I want to do with this deck. And Banalish Honor Guard certainly does. We have a ton of legends in here, so this card could be a really big 2-drop. That being said, we could take another legend, Quende, but we only have 1 first strike card in the deck. So it's just going to be a pretty slow card that maybe once in a blue moon makes our Danitha ridiculous. Or Danitha or Knight of Malice. Yeah, just 2 cards that work with it. We'll take the Honor Guard. Get more cheap creatures because they just dried up so fast in the other packs. This is 3 lands in here. This is a 22 card deck right now. I'm not going to play any of this. I'll just take the highest rarity card. Another Honor Guard here, or another Deathbloom Thallid. That card is really good. 2. We do have 4 2-mana creatures already. It's pretty good. Deathbloom Thallid's the better card by a bit, the better deal, but now Honor Guard's just so thematic. I can't resist. Triple Memorial to Folly. No respect for the memorials. Alright, well, we have... Is there anything like unplayable in the deck right now? No, we kind of just have a whole deck and it's super fine. So we could just take a land again. 27 minus 4, 23 cards, yep. Get in here, Memorial to Glory. Do I like Voltaic Servant over Caligo Skinwitch for historic triggers on Tashar? That is our only Historic Matters card, so I don't actually think so. We'll grab another Skinwitch. Now we have 5 2-drops. Wow, we get the Mesa Unicorn. So we can have 6 2-drops. Actually, we already have 6. Now we have 7 of them? Oh my god, that's too many. I don't think I want Soul Salvage. Now I have triple Memorial to Folly. I probably don't even want the first Soul Salvage, when I can just have lands take up the recursion slot. So RIP Soul Salvage. Generally a solid card in this format where there are really singularly powerful creatures to get back late game, but when we have triple Memorial to Folly, seems just a little bit redundant. All right, well, we're going to have a fun time with this final Dominaria draft. We're going to do some things here. All right, here we are with the final deck. This is going to be a white-black legendary themed deck. We have some excellent removal. Blessed Light. We have a lot of finishers like Urgros, Evra, Onser's Wings, Tashar's pretty scary. Windgrace Acolyte, just flyers in general in this format can be finishers. We have a great aggressive start with a bunch of powerful 2-mana 2/2s that potentially do even more. Bunch of great 3-drops like the Deathbloom Thallids, Courser, and Danitha. And then just some great utility lands here to the point where we are running an 18-land deck. The reason being 5 of our lands can cycle as basically a spell in the late game when we're flooding out. Normally, I wouldn't consider adding additional lands when I have spell lands like Memorial to Glory that highly, but when I have 5 spell lands, yeah, we've got a lot of just built-in flood protection from the mana base. So by running 18 lands, it means that we get mana screwed much less often, and we have the built-in way to basically not get mana flooded nearly as easy. We're always doing something with our mana, even if our hand is almost all lands. So without further ado, let's head into game 1 and see how this deck works. Alright, we're on the play here. Just a 2-lander, but we're an 18-land deck, so should get somewhere with this. And we have 2 2-drops already, so we know we're casting some things even if we have to wait for that 3rd land. And if we hit the 3rd land, 2 3-mana cards. Seems like a pretty good start to me. Good enough start at least to not mulligan it away. Mulligan from our opponent here. So they will start with a 7-card hand as well, even though they're on the draw. We'll see what they play first. Looks like a Forest coming down. I'm gonna get our turn 2. Oh, Adventurous Impulse. I spoke too soon. Adventurous Impulse to pull a mountain out of the top 3. We do hit our 3rd land, which is perfect. We're definitely going to start this game with a Mesa Unicorn, so we can start the game at just a life total advantage if they don't get a 2-drop creature down. Chip in with Unicorn a couple times. That's going to be really nice. We've got Skittering Surveyor here, which I might want to play. Do I want to make sure I'm hopping in the sky? Do I want to get as much power on the board as possible? Or do I want to hit the lands to get towards Acolyte? I think I'd rather just put as much power on the board as possible. Really punish them if they don't have a lot of creatures in hand. They did have to take a mulligan, so they couldn't get too greedy on this keep. So yeah, it's possible they had to keep a land with no early plays, which looks like the case. So we played the way to punish that as much as possible. I like Danitha here. And then if we hit another land, then we can turn 5 Skittering Surveyor and Honor Guard at the same time. Ooh, well, this is horrible. Shalai is an incredibly powerful card. A 3/4 flyer. All of their stuff has hexproof, and it can put a counter on all their stuff once they have 6 mana. They have 4 already. And just walls off all our attacks here. Yeah, this is an awful time. Well, that really changes things. Now we need the Skittering Surveyor. We need to get this Dark Bargain off to dig for one of our Blessed Lights, and we need to get it fast. Yeah, that completely nullifies everything we're doing. Even if we played the Pegasus Courser and we jump into the sky, Shalai's a flyer as well. Just a phenomenal card from our opponent. 3/5 Mammoth Spider as well. That's not as bad, but it does have hexproof, meaning they get to attack with Shalai freely, which is pretty sad for us. If we attack all, we lose a 3/2 and hit for 5. Not good enough here. Let's just drop Windgrace Acolyte, I think. Alright, Dark Bargain would not have hit a Blessed Light, so that was a pretty good mill for us. If we milled a single Blessed Light, we would have been sad and been like, oh, I wish I Dark Bargained. But I like playing Windgrace Acolyte here because now they just stop setting in Shalai, because otherwise we hit them. Wait, no. Mammoth Spider has reach. Of course, it's a big old spider. It's got reach. Yeah, this is so immensely bad. Alright, well, I totally forgot about Mammoth Spider's reach. I should have played Dark Bargain instead of Windgrace Acolyte last turn, but Dark Bargain digs 3 cards deep. Windgrace milled the 3 we would have seen to Dark Bargain, so it wouldn't have mattered. We would have just not gotten removal yet. And we would have drawn Tashar this turn. I mean, so now we have to Dark Bargain, and it's an instant, so I guess we do it during their turn. We just Dark Bargain during their end step and really cross our fingers for the best, otherwise Shalai takes this. Mammoth Spider and Grun are bad, but they're manageable. Shalai is not. Oh my god. Wow. Well, this seems like a predestined loss here. This is a phenomenal deck from our opponent, just bombs galore. Still no Blessed Light. We do have 3 in the deck, so we'll get there eventually, but I think we needed to get there by now. Everything they have has hexproof, and now they have 3 flyers. They can put a counter on all of them. This is a brutal ending for the Dominaria drafts here. The give and take of the format. Yeah, I'm over it. On Saros Wings, too. Oh, Lord. Some bad beats for game 1. Alright, on the play here. No play till turn 3, but still pretty solid hand. Great late game here. See how it goes for us. I'll just keep playing our tapped lands in the early game. Opponents got the memo too. They got that Memorial to Genius over there that they can cycle away as a divination in the late game. Blue-green from our opponent. Drop our Deathbloom Thallid here. Play our tapped land next turn, since we have no 4-drop. 3 mana from our opponents. Tolarian Scholar it is. That'll trade into our Thallid and we'll leave behind a 1/1. Don't think it's worth an Adamant Will to save it, so I'm just going to skip right through if they block. We can save our Adamant Will for saving all these much bigger, more important creatures that we've got in hand. Skittering Surveyor. Phenomenal card. Windgrace Acolyte's going to be sweet here. We've got double Memorial to Folly on the board, so that'll be spicy. We don't hit any creatures with it though, sad day. Do have that Deathbloom Thallid though, if we run out of things to do. Our Memorials are pretty active. Weight of Memory, they're gonna mill me with my double Memorials out, let's go! Mace Unicorn, Skittering Surveyor. At least we got them out of the way. I guess we have our 2 6-drops in our hand, so like what are we really gonna mill that's that big for us? Fortunately, no 6th mana for Urgros and Evra. I'm just gonna play Banalish Honor Guard. Definitely not gonna want to crack a Memorial before we have the 6 mana for our 6-drops in hand. Cold Water Snapper. Annoying Turtle McGee. I do not miss Hexproof. It's probably my biggest takeaway. I think I've said this before, but I think my biggest takeaway from drafting Dominaria and seeing the frickin' Cold Water Snapper is that, ooh boy, do I not miss Hexproof. Ward is really fun. Ward is a way better way to do it. Academy Drake, that's pretty spooky. 4/4 flyer. That is probably worth the Blessed Light. Although, this is going to be one of our only opportunities to actually kill the Cold Water Snapper. So we will take that opportunity. Alright, now we have 2 Blessed Lights, so really easy to just go ahead and get rid of that Academy Drake. Because the only concern I was going to have is that they're trying to sneak in a better card afterward. But now they can't do that, we've just got a backup. Grossen Druid, alright, just a 2/3 on the ground. But they do go back to 21, basically reset the game here. Grossen Druid, certainly one of those cards that shows off how this format can very much be pretty grindy. Oh, I should have played Danitha pre-combat so I could just attack with Honor Guard. I completely forgot about the flavor text on Honor Guard. That is the only reason I put it in this deck. It gets buffed. Legitimately gets buffed in our deck. Yeah, now it's just not going to do anything, because now it's running up into a 5/5. We've been milled again. 15 cards left in the library. Still plenty of time to kill our opponent, I think. Got another Blessed Light here. If we use this, we have no more. I think if they had a better creature than Kavun Explorer, they would have just cast it already, like a Verdant Force or something. So I think we're free to drop Blessed Light here to get in with everybody on the ground. I suppose Danitha doesn't get in, but everybody else that wouldn't get in against a 5/5. Double block our first striker here, just trade 1 into it. Looks like they'd rather kill the Honor Guard though, so they can keep their 3/3 on board. Alright, they scry 1 and draw a card with an opt. They drop a big kicked Baloth Gorger. We're still slamming in the sky, and we'll definitely play an Urgros here. Keep slamming in the sky, and whenever they can actually kill our flyers, we've got all 3 of our Memorial to Follies to just keep picking them up and recasting them. Ooh, Slyn Voda kicked. Return everything else to everybody's hands. Alright. Well, we're rebooting the game here. Playing Evra. It's kind of cute. But we could just take 8. We're at 23. We probably just play Urgros, right? If I replay Windgrace Acolyte, they might actually mill me, because they're going to mill me 3 more cards with that. Windgrace will mill me 3. That'll be 6 cards down. I'll have 6 cards left in my library. It's got to be Urgros. That is getting kind of sketchy. This is a weird deck from our opponent, but I love it. They're actually just getting like the bounce synergy on Homered Explorer. They might actually mill us with the Homered Explorer Weight of Memory Dream. We've been seeing those cards get ran a lot. Weight of Memory is just a good card because you still draw the 3, but Homered Explorer, I think, has been highly overrated in the drafts this time around. People really want to live the Mill Dream, but this is the first opponent I've run against that might actually live the Mill Dream. And that's kind of terrifying. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 mana. Down to 7 cards in our library. 4 if I cast Windgrace Acolyte. I think we just get in with Urgros. What do we have for Memorial to Flyer? We have Pegasus Courser. That's it for flyers. Wow. We don't actually have too many flyers in the deck. Alright, they go down to 5 and discard a card at random. Discard that Baloth Gorger. Yeah, we just clutter the ground, right? And let Urgros keep doing its thing, and if Urgros gets killed, bring Urgros back to our hand from our grave. Deathbloom Thalad's probably our best card here, because it gets to chump block Slinvoda twice. Alright, opponent will sacrifice their Memorial to Genius to draw 2 cards. And they're going to scoop them up. Did not find a way to deal with Urgros, which means we guaranteed hit them for 4 in the sky, putting them to 1 life. So if a single other creature gets in, they are dead next turn. So alright, 1-1 it is. Here we are now in game 3. We got some of those classic tap lands. Benalish Honor Guard turn 2 with a legendary coming up. Seems good enough to me. A mulligan from our opponent. Go for the Memorial to Folly turn 1. Honor Guard on 2, and then if we hit any untapped land, we can Thalid on 3. Now we've even drawn Onsera's Wings, which is a ridiculous game ender. 2 mana from our opponent. They are on black and green. I would rather turn 3 Thalid than turn 4 Onsera's Wings here, because we'd only have 1 creature out if we go for that. Don't want to go all in here. Get the board spread out. Especially against a black deck that can have Eviscerate and Vicious Offering. They could cast like Vicious Offering in response to us trying to Sarah's Wings or something. As you can see, they're going to Vicious Offering the Deathbloom Thalid. Interesting. I guess just get that out of the way. Oh, if they're stuck on 2 mana, that makes a lot of sense. Go for a Macy Unicorn this turn and drop our Memorial to Glory, so we have Onsera's Wings up next turn, or Baird. Onsera's Wings only actually hits them for 1 more damage each turn, so we might as well play Baird first if they still can't get a creature on board. Because Baird will add more damage. And we don't need to play Onsera's Wings until we need to jump above one of their creatures. And get that flying. Alright, well there's a Slimefoot to jump over, but if we hit a land, we'll Blessed Light it instead. We do not hit the land. Play Knight of Malice instead here to play around removal from our opponent. They would have to hit a land for that. And it did look like they missed a land drop here, so if they miss another land drop, we should be safe. With 3 toughness, I think. That is another thing that's great with Honor Guard in this deck. It's really good with Onsera's Wings, because if it itself becomes legendary, it gets the +1/+0. Alright, they hit the land drop, so Eviscerate on Benalish Honor Guard if they can do it. If they've got it in hand, that is 100% the play. They do not have the Eviscerate in hand, meaning Benalish Honor Guard is going to keep shredding them here. I'd like to play another legendary like Baird, I think. Buff the power of Benalish Honor Guard. We kill them in 2 turns, actually. Yeah. I like going for Baird this turn. That way if we hit a land next turn, we can play Danitha and Knight of Malice. They're down to 6. If they do not find an out here, Danitha makes Benalish Honor Guard lethal. They're looking over the board state, seeing if they're missing anything, seeing what they can do. They go for an Ancient Animus, Slimefoot into Benalish Honor Guard. And a Blood's Hallow Candle is the play. We hit a land, we can Blessed Light, and that will be not quite lethal, but real close. So we'll absolutely cast it here. Everybody sends in, puts them down to 1, but they scoop them up. That is 2-1. For the white-black legend deck. Alright, here we are in game 4. Super keepable here. Benalish Honor Guard into Danitha Capuchin's a very aggressive start, and I think we're on the play. Yeah, we had the first decision on mulligans, so yes, we are. So we're just going to start shredding in real fast. Is my arena messed up? Oh, nope, there it goes. Alright, so just a real long keep here. There's our honor guard on 2. Opt from our opponent. Mono blue so far turn 2. Drop Danitha. Send in for 3. Memorial to Folly into Deathbloom Thallid next turn. They're on green blue. Yavimaya Sapherd clutters up the board quite well. Danitha still attacks in freely. Honor Guard clears Sapper out of the way. Sure. Skittering Surveyor here to get the 4th land drop. Probably another color. Green-blue tend to be pretty splashy. Although they may have a double green card in hand, even if they are 3 color. Alright, the red source it is. Green, blue, and red. And there's the red source. Double block. Doesn't work well, especially if we have Blessed Light. Really make sure it doesn't work well. I mean, they can double block and kill Thallid, but we kill both their creatures in that process. That's pretty fine by me. Get a 1/1 left behind and drop a Mace Unicorn down. We've got double Blessed Light for the next creatures they play. If they just try to play some big blockers here, we keep the board clear, keep sending in for 5. Fight with fire to kill Danitha it is. And a Corrosive Ooze. Pretty annoying. I think, again, just going to offer the trade. Not really worth the removal spell. We'll trade our 2 mana card into it, I guess, to get it out of the way. Pegasus Courser. Still don't want to pop this Memorial to Folly yet, because we need 5 mana for Blessed Light. And our opponent is definitely trying to survive till they can cast something big. Okay, we'll pop a Memorial to Folly in the end step if we don't need to remove something this turn. Pick up Danitha probably. 7 mana, Zahid. Well, we need to remove something this turn. I think we outrace our opponent. They're hitting us for twice as much damage, but they're at half as much life. Ooh, we certainly outrace our opponent with Urgoros. They don't have counter mana up, they have a single blue. But they may have more removal. Nope, Weight of Memory, just draw 3 cards here. Can't think of 2 mana removal that can kill Urgoros here in blue-red. But if they had a land, they could go land fight with fire or something. Looks like they scooped them up, nothing to deal with Urgoros, so they're going to take 6 in the sky, discard a card at random, and they just do not want to deal with that. 3-1 it'll be. Round 5 now. Mono white hand, but 2 castable cards, but we're not on the draw. We need 4 mana before we cast anything else. I think I have to mulligan this. Seems a bit risky. Here we have both colors. We have Honor Guard and Knight of Malice. We can get rid of a 6-drop in hand. It's probably better than what we could get out of a 5-card hand. Definitely not great, though. Probably Knight of Malice first, so that by the time we cast the Honor Guard, this attacks for 3. Sparring Construct turn 1 from our opponent. When that dies, they'll put a counter on another one of their creatures. And a Knight of Malice as well. So our Knight of Malices will just trade since they're both first strike. That's kind of annoying. I guess we're pretty down for trades with a Tashar in hand, so we'll just offer it. If they just block with Sparring Construct, they do get a 3/3 first striker on their board, which is kind of scary. Yeah, I probably should have thought that a little more through. But with Benalish on our guard, our first striker is also going to be 3 power, so they'll trade with each other still. We just have to get ready for that trade in the future. And it looks like the black-white mirror match here. I think I'd rather call the cavalry than Tashar here, just since I don't have any historic cards in my hand. Vicious Offering on Knight of Malice, that's brutal. We're just really hoping they wouldn't have black removal in their deck. Like we don't, where all we have is Blessed Light. So now this Knight of Malice is going to be really hard to deal with, but we can still try to outrace it. Cabal Paladin we can pretty easily outrace. Alright, and they're not even going to attack anymore. Here's Tashar to start jamming in the sky. But Cabal Paladin's the kind of card super weak against something like Call the Cavalry, so we're happy to see that. Oh, not with an Onsar's Wings. That card I think we ought to lose to that, because this card's just hexproof from all of our removal. I'm just going to scoop them up right now, actually. We have no possible victory against a 5/4 first strike lifelink vigilance blocker that can't be targeted by our removal spells. 3-2 it is. Got absolutely slammed by the mirror match. Slammed by our own best cards. Round 6 now. Hopefully we can target our opponent's threats this game. Drop Memorial to Glory turn 1. And Knight of Malice turn 2. I shouldn't have said a word. Knight of Malice is very good against our deck. The Knight of Malice mirror match returns. This time they're on Rakdos, though. They're going to Fungal Infection and kill my Knight of Malice here. I'm going to wait till I have Adamant Will. There's so many spells that can make this combat go really poorly for me. I guess if they just have Vicious Offering or Shivan Fire in hand, that would just beat my Knight of Malice no matter what. But if they have Fungal Infection, I can win with Adamant Will. If they don't cast anything, though, I think I'm just okay with the trade. And I think if they had Fungal Infection, they probably would have attacked both. Alright, they're not going to cast anything here, so we could attempt at Adamant Will, but they might respond with Shivan Fire or Vicious Offering, and that would be pretty bad. How okay are we with this trade? We're pretty okay. We have Tashar and another Historic card. Yeah, we'll let it happen. I don't want to get blown out by a Shivan Fire here that they didn't want to cast, but they will cast if they can 2-for-1 me with it. Like, that's a thing that happens sometimes. I think I'd actually rather Deathbloom Thallid than Tashar here, so that I actually have something big enough to threaten to trade with their Thallid Omnivore if they can't get any Sapling tokens down. Bloodstone Goblin, a 2-mana 2/2. So they trade their 2/2 up into our Thallid here, I guess, if I block there on the Omnivore. I'll just lower their creature count by blocking the Journey Mage then. Kill a 3/2 instead of a 2/2. And stop damage this turn. I guess, well, we stop damage by blocking Omnivore as well. Brain goes dumb places sometimes. Alright, Tashar it is. Next turn we have Blessed Light or Windgrace Acolyte, or if we hit an untapped land, we can cast Evra and get back one of these creatures. Never mind. Fiery Intervention from our opponent. That card is very dead. We are down to 9. Life gain from Windgrace Acolyte would be pretty big here. Adamant Will's pretty good. We can still cast Adamant Will and Skittering Surveyor this turn. We could Blessed Light the Omnivore and just take 3 damage. They very slowly kill us. We have great options here. Acolyte or Surveyor hold up Adamant Will or Blessed Light. I think I'm just on Blessed Light while they're tapped out. Not that it matters. Black-Red's not going to have any way to, like, stop the Blessed Light. I should have attacked with the 1/1. We're not going to jump block here. Lost out on a point of damage. Soul Salvage. That's really bad. Probably the 3/3 here. But we get to cast Evra, and if they don't immediately top deck removal, they really can't attack in. Because we'll gain more life than they deal to us. And if they didn't immediately hit removal, and they hit non-exile removal, we'll have Adamant Will up forever in the future, which will be massive. We get Bloodstone Goblin Menace. That's still... They still can't attack in profitably. They just lose a creature, and we take a net 0 damage. So Gitsu Chronicler gets back Fire Intervention to deal with Evra, but we can hold up Adamant Will now. If we hit another land, we can cast Windgrace Acolyte to gain a few life and hold up Adamant Will. We don't hit a land, but now we can Skittering Surveyor for a land and cast Mesa Unicorn and hold up Adamant Will, which is pretty great. So we have a lot of blockers now, even if they go for the Fire Intervention on Evra. And I don't think we can attack with Evra to try to get a big Adamant Will on blocks here, because then Evra just dies when we pass to the Fiery Intervention. We cannot let that happen. Okay, Memorial to Folly to bring back an Evra, or whatever we want in the future. It's pretty dang nice. Evra's still our best blocker, but Mesa Unicorn blocks pretty well too. Lifelink as well. We can probably attack with Evra here. What trades if we attack with Evra? They block with a 3/2 and 2 1/3s, and we only kill one of their creatures, but we have 2 Memorial to Follies. I don't know. Let's Windgrace Acolyte for sure. Maybe start attacking with that in the sky. Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got an Urgros in the grave too. Now let's keep this Evra on blocks. Probably bringing an Urgros back to our hand. Something like that. Oh no, Icy Manipulator. Best uncommon in the entire set because it fits into any deck and it absolutely slaps. Tap down Evra, alright. We're actually pretty okay with that. We've got all these memorials to pop off during their turn, so we'll have 5,000 blockers if we need them. And then if we don't need the blockers, we pop a Memorial to Folly instead of a Memorial to Glory. Kazarov! Oh, snap. Blessed Light number 2 or 3. I need you now more than ever. Whenever any creature is dealt damage, so when creatures just... Whenever I block, basically, they get a counter because... They get 2 counters because that's dealt damage and this is dealt damage. And this can just start killing our whole field with the activated ability. Kazarov's absolutely atrocious. We need to top deck Blessed Light. It's our best creature to play if we don't top deck Blessed Light. It's probably just Urgros, but it can still just get double shot by Kazarov. We have absolutely no plan if Kazarov remains, and none of these creatures draw us a card. So let's just grab Urgros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. We can definitely crack another one right now. We could do another Memorial if we want. Grab Teshar, I guess. Cast Teshar first and go greed value. Again, none of that is relevant if we don't draw the Blessed Light. So let's see. Blessed Light off the top? Nope. I think we just lose. We can play a flyer they have to activate twice to kill, which makes it so... No, they just win. They use Kazarov to shoot Acolyte for 2 and they tap down Urgros. That hits for 5. I guess that's not quite lethal. Still absolutely horrible. I guess we have to attack with Evra here while they're tapped out of Icy Manipulator mana. And trade our Evra into a 3/2, but then they do the double block, right? They do that double block, and That means 3 creatures will have been dealt damage, so Kazarov goes to 6. Kazarov just gets massively big, but we gain 4 life still, so... Yep. Oh, they have an even better block than I thought they did. I think we have to hold the mana, just play Urgoros. We'll be at the same life total either way. 7 gain 4, or 4 gain 7 is the same. We would just get to kill 1 more Gitu Chronicler. Blessed Light, please. Kazarov's being a big giant meanie head. Chain Whirler, oh god, yep, we lose. Chain Whirler Kazarov, the dream team combo. Wow. Oh wait, we don't lose yet. No, we still have a turn for Blessed Light because they don't have 4 red mana. They don't have the mana to shoot one of these with Kazarov. They can tap one of them down, but all we can do is trump block either way. Oh Lord, give me that Blessed Light, please. Please. This is atrocious. This is vile. Tap down our Urgoros here. They tap down Urgoros during our turn, and then if we cast a Shard, they tap that down when it goes to theirs. Our only possible way out is Blessed Light, and that is not that. So that is game. We can still try. Maybe they'll forget to use Icy Manipulator. They did not forget to use Icy Manipulator. So, we're super out. I guess even if they forgot to use it, they could just use Icy Manipulator and kill a flyer this turn. Yeah, Kazarov's a mega dumb card. We just need immediate removal for it, and we did not have it. Had to pop it off earlier on Omnivore to get in there. Or just to survive the early game. 3-3 it is. Another average run to round out the Dominaria drafts. Well, some really bad beats in our last 2 games. I don't remember the first loss by now. I've got some really short-term memory. But second loss was incredibly bad beats. They got an On Sarah's Wings onto a Knight of Malice, which basically it makes a card that can't be targeted by any of our removal, and it's bigger than anything we've got. Vigilant, gaining them life, so that killed us incredibly fast. And then the last game, obviously just the Kazarov without drawing an answer. Kazarov is the kind of card you need to remove it immediately or it will end the game incredibly fast. It is an incredibly massive flying bomb that just comes attached with infinite removal spells they can spend 4 mana to cast, basically. Massively brutal card, and they had it alongside Icy Manipulator, another one of the best cards in the format. Just some bad beats by some really powerful cards for some strong decks from our opponents, but that'll be the end of the run for the Legend deck here. We did not get to use Tashar a single time, I think, unfortunately, so that was a little sad. But overall, I did like the cards that we had here. Again, just some real bad beats those last 2 rounds. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing we're missing, could have used some black removal like Vicious Offering or something that would have been able to kill that Knight of Malice that one game. That would have been helpful for sure. Bear didn't do a ton, Tashar didn't do a ton, but we really went thematic here. Evra actually did more than I thought Evra would. Evra was incredibly important, the one game where we got Evra there. Maybe we drew Evra in the early games and I just forgot, but Evra was very important in the last game that we played. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that is going to end the Dominaria drafts. They are off of Arena the day after tomorrow. However, tomorrow we've got spoilers for New Capenna starting up. They're doing that really long intro to New Capenna video that they do that's really hype every time. Like the Kamigawa video that I did a reaction to, where they kind of announced that Tameo got completed and they showed off like the Tezzeret card and the Enthusiastic Mechanaut and stuff. So I'll probably be doing a reaction to that. And then we will be back to Limited 2 days from now with Ravnica Mixer Sealed events are the next variety limited events that they're bringing to Arena after the removal of Dominaria Premier Drafts. So great stuff on the horizon. Even if we don't get a super solid ending to the Dominaria drafts, we got plenty more great limited to play in the near future. So as always, thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Magic Arena.